What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium. I'm here to talk to you about a little movie by the title of Love Lies Bleeding that I witnessed all by my lonesome a few days ago. I know, always late to these reviews, people, but that's okay. These are coming out. Really busy life, as always, but I do like to at least check in and tap back in with y'all from time to time. This was my most anticipated of the year thus far. I was hyped for this movie from the moment I saw the trailer, and I can't even exactly tell you why. There was just, how do you say, good vibes radiating off my screen. Obviously, not in the way that things were going to play out, because it looks like this could be quite the unfortunate mess. But what it proved to be, what I meant was, it had good vibes in terms of, oh shit, this looks like it could be a nice little crime thriller with its own spin. And I'm here to say it delivered. I do. I think it delivered. I really did enjoy this movie. I got everything I wanted from this movie. I can't say and more, but at the same time, though, damn close. This movie was solid as fuck. Performances across the board, cinematography. I will say the end, I think, is going to be a little divisive. It does get a little, I don't know, trying to talk around it, right? I don't want to say weird, but there's some elements in the movie that happen at the end that I don't think you should take too literal. Obviously, if you have a brain when you watch this, but I have a feeling some people might almost take it too literal, or it's just like too much to the point they can't really base it in one solid metaphor. I'll also say the ending to this movie was good, but it wasn't quite amazing like I had hoped. So that kind of lowered my score a little bit. We're kind of Tarantino in this. We're working our way back since I already kind of jumped on the ending being a little divisive. And, you know, when we do see something amongst this movie where we're kind of just like, okay, I think this might throw people for a loop to some degree. We'll see as, you know, word of mouth gets out there more, but I think this particular thing will. But I will say, like I said, I thought it was good. The ending was good, but the ending was not great to me, or else this movie would be by far and away, I think, in my top 10 of the year. Like right now, obviously it is, because I've probably only seen about 10 movies so far this year. But this movie could have been, you know, like that lock if it wasn't for the ending. But I got a feeling when I rewatch it again, I'm going to like it even more. Now, rewind back a little bit. Let's talk about the performances a little bit. I do not know the bodybuilder girl's name, but she is fucking, you know, pretty damn great in this movie. Very believable as a jacked biatch. And I mean that with all sincerity, no disrespect, my lady. Okay, let's talk about, of course, Kristen Stewart. You know, the other half of Twilight can't act. These motherfuckers, bro. Just like they did with Pattinson. You know, they're still on that. Y'all need to let that shit go, bro. Yeah. Pattinson's the shit, and yes, Kristen Stewart is the shit. They're both the shit. Even old dude from Twilight, that, you know, from Stranger Things season 5, old, you know, Jamie Bauer. I mean, it's obviously just Twilight. Twilight is the problem. These motherfuckers, the cast they had in these movies, damn what they could have been churning out. Because these actors that are in these movies, it doesn't just stop at Kristen Stewart. They are fucking sick. And this is another launch pad for Kristen Stewart to once again smear the shit in these people's faces that think she is this horrible actor. And yes, I say actor instead of actress, okay? Actor. She is a flat out actor, and she flat out kills it in this movie. Probably one of my, you know, favorite performances in the early years. So this could obviously drastically, you know, change. I don't think she should have won the Oscar, but she did exactly what I expected her to do. Kill it. Ed Harris, complete standout in this movie. Just like, again, those vibes I was talking about from the trailer. He was the shit. Like, didn't even have to say much. It was, you know, those Ed Harris, like, side-eye looks that he would give in the movie that immediately would make you just, like, it was a mystery. Like, you're just like, what's this man thinking right now, and how deep is this about to get? So I'm going to say, this dude is the shit in this movie. And little old Dave Franco, man. I mean, I'm loving him as a director now. And as just the way he's grown from, this comedy guy that we've seen in like 21 Jump Street and shit like that to now being able to pull off roles like this. Me and Rodney from Box Office Banner had talked about this. We both agreed, like, just very believable in his role. And I think he's got a little bit more going on than necessarily, at least I thought from the trailer here. He's pretty integral, and it's a solid role for him that I continue to look forward to seeing him step more into this type of film. And, all the other supporting actors, actresses, everybody, you lock in and you forget you're watching a movie almost. It's one of those. They nail it down. Nothing's forced. It all comes off authentic, and you were in a nice little crime thriller that's got just enough of a twist on it to feel a little different. I don't know if it's the gay shit going on. Yeah, the gay shit. Does that, for some reason, like add an extra? I know LGBTQ, I think that's how you say it. They're all going in for this movie. They're like, oh my God, this is our shit. It's like, as a straight man, this is my shit too, okay? This is fucking dope. Hopefully, I would hope that it doesn't have to only be limited to LGBTQ people because, whatever letter of the alphabet I am, the straight man, whatever you want to call me, and going forward, vice versa too. If you're watching this movie and you're just like not enjoying it for that reason, what the fuck are you doing? Because maybe that is the vibe. Maybe the gay shit is what sells it. Jesus, I don't know, but it did give it a little bit of an extra flavor, times the bodybuilding, which obviously I'm not a bodybuilder, but lifting weights is like the most pretty much religious thing I do in my life, even over this. I'm sorry, people, but that is what keeps me sane. That's what keeps me able to do this. And I always love it when, a little weightlifting can be thrown into a movie where other people might roll their eyes. I'm just like, okay, yeah. Which is probably why some of like the steroid usage in the movie, if I did have another negative, which the more I thought about it, wasn't as big of a negative because I'm somebody, as much as I've lifted weights, I've never used steroids because I'm not like a professional on the matter. But I feel like when she was like in the movie using these steroids, like, did they dial it up a little too much with that? And if this is a spoiler to you, I am sorry. I don't think it's a major spoiler. You could pretty much guess, every bodybuilder does steroids, right? Okay. If you don't know that, well, now you know that. And, she's a huge chick. She's going to use steroids. I'm not going to really say what it does for her in the movie, but some of the choices with the steroids in the movie was kind of just like, okay, maybe you're laying on a little thick. But then again, maybe you're reading what I'm saying if you have seen it. There is elements where I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm kind of wrong. But there was moments I was like, okay, they might be overdoing it a bit with a certain thing that circled around the steroids. That was one of my few nitpicks that, honestly, on rewatch, I don't know if it's going to be a big nitpick. Just the drama, the way it unfolds, everything flows. Again, that word authenticity, I like to throw that out there when it's, measured out right and applicable to a movie, when I truly feel it is. You really flow with this story. Everything plays out so organically, and everything, it just, the way they peel everything back, it's just, you'll be one moment just like, okay, this is a nice little like love story with two girls that are, kind of down and out in different ways, and you're kind of rooting for them, and they're not even necessarily good guys or bad guys or whatever you want to call it, but you're rooting for them, and you're glad they found each other, and their world in some way, shape, or form is about to get turned upside down, and you know that, but it's a good enough movie where it doesn't have to just throw you and thrust you into that shit right away. It takes its time, obviously, as you'd probably expect. And sometimes that makes the surprises a little stronger because you're so captivated by other areas of the film that, to the point where you get to like the more, meat and bones of what you're here to see. When that unravels, you're like, oh shit. And it might even go, oh shit, that's a little darker than I thought it'd be, or that's a little deeper than I thought it would be in this area. There's a lot of that going on here. And I already talked about the ending. I said what I said because we kind of Tarantino'd it. Ending was good. Again, don't think the ending lets you down. It's just when you're watching a movie, you're like, oh my God, and then you want that just boom, just over the head, like, oh my God, they killed it. But I left here like, yes, it was fucking dope. But like they didn't hit me with the sledgehammer, if you will, at the end. I wanted a little more of something, and I'm not gonna say much more. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I want y'all to go see this movie. This movie is fucking dope. Y'all gotta check this out. As I said, did not disappoint. Jason has left the building. I honestly thought he came to life for a second. That's who was behind me that just fell. My little cutout. I love you guys. Check this one out immediately. Right now, I got this movie at 8.7 out of 10. It could end up at a 9, though, when it's all said and done. It was lower when I left the theater. Still a great movie. I had it above an 8, but it's climbed a few notches, even just thinking about it, because it really, it hits you over the head. And that might not with the ending, but it does hit you over the head in a way where it hits you and you're like, dazed for a second. You're like, well, what is going on? Just fucking stick along for the ride. And you're just like, oh, okay, all right. And it doesn't let you go. It really does not. And one other quick tidbit, I will say the other thing that held the movie back just an eensy-weensy bit for me is, there's metaphors, as I even said at the end. There's some type of metaphor that I didn't go into, but, there's something obviously there. I'm saying there's a metaphor. There is stuff that is metaphor-driven here, but it's not necessarily as prevalent or as strong within the script. And that's okay, at least for me. I didn't really get a lot of that. Sometimes you just got a movie like this that's just so damn good as just what it is, and maybe you get a little extra something. But a lot of times with these A24 movies like this, I like to watch a movie and maybe I'll see it later, but then you can also fucking at the end of it be like, oh my God, now I'm piecing this together. Like there's a whole fucking metaphor within this movie that is insane. Didn't really call for it here, but when you can interweave that within your movie and pull it off, A24 usually does that so well. You can actually get that little upper echelon. And A24 with a movie like this, it just had me locked in. I was kind of hoping maybe for a few more of those. You get them, you do. But there's not that just like, boom, knock me out of the park metaphor that I wanted. Maybe I'll see it on a second watch. But either way, just cut and dry, flat out. Great fucking movie, guys. Check this one out. 8.7 out of 10. Love you guys. Peace.